What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down why Tesla's up over 1% for the day, why we did have a crazy day today with Jerome Powell speaking, what the data is telling us about Tesla in the markets, and something very important that Elon Musk put on his Twitter page that's super cool for the future. I'm also going to break down what the setup is telling us about Tesla because it does look more bullish than bearish, but there are things you need to note about it. Now, before I break anything down about Tesla's price action and talk about why it is still very possible for this thing to break out to the upside, I do have to mention a couple of things before saying anything. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks plus free level 2 data with $0 for commissions when you trade. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 7 days. Make sure you check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Tesla's once again up over 1.05% for the day, not outperforming the market like it was over the last couple of days, but overall, we do have a very nice setup ahead of us. Now, right now, even though I do think it's awesome that the market's most likely going to continue to rally, I do think the market has more space to keep going. I do have to note that from a technical standpoint, yes, for the short term, we are most likely going to be bullish. But for the medium term, for the next week or a couple of weeks, we are still forming, in my opinion, a very clear topping process. If you look at the amount of greed in this market is at these extreme levels, and we do have this divergence that's still developing. What's happening is, yes, retail is so bullish, people are very bullish, and they are making money on the way up, but there's no guarantee this is going to last forever. So just be prepared for something to shift over the next week or so. But until then, yes, there is still room for more upside. I just want to note that there is still this divergence that's forming between the greedy side and then the high of the S&P 500. But once again, yes, there is more upside to come most likely, but there's no guarantee this will last forever. I just want you guys to be prepared for that before I break down what actually went down. Jerome Powell was speaking, okay? And it was crazy when the guy started speaking. Here's what I'm talking about. I know you guys may have been watching the markets throughout the day. Maybe some people weren't. Let me show you how crazy it was. SPY had a crazy push up in the very beginning of his speech. We were basically flat from the day. And this is how volatile we were, basically flat from the beginning. Then we got this crazy rally to 415. Then we came crashing down to 407. This all happened within an hour or two. And then we had another rally to continue to end the day up all the way to about 415, up 1.31% for the day. So lots of crazy volatility. We saw a trap right here, then another trap. It was like a trap within a trap, leading to the big push up, very difficult to trade. And Tesla ended up doing something very similar. Tesla had a bit of a push up all the way up to almost 200. We actually came up to about 197, and then we came all the way down to about 189. See how Tesla came down pretty hard. Then we pushed up with a nice rally, stopping at 197.5, very close to the key supply zone between 198 and 200, and we actually still closed green by about 1.05%. Now, Tesla did end up closing not as green as SPY because we had a very strong open compared to the market. Tesla was holding up a lot better. And that's the reason why when the market came down, Tesla got a nice bounce, but it wasn't able to just, break the key resistance just yet. That's the reason why it ended up closing just a little bit in the green because it had a very strong open compared to the market. But anyways, I want to now break down something else that's going on in the market, some big pieces of news before I get into more details about the technical side. If you don't want to hear too much about the news, you could skip this video to get to the technicals, but I want to talk about something important. So what did Jerome Powell say? He basically kept the same tonality that he had back during the FOMC meeting back about 6 days ago when he wasn't necessarily hawkish. That's like the bottom line. I wouldn't necessarily use the word dovish. He did say the Fed has more work to do. The Fed has to continue tightening, but he also said that there is very clear signs of disinflation in this economy. He mentioned that the housing market is likely going to see disinflation maybe a little bit later, and he did consider it a good thing to see unemployment at the lowest it was in. Now, I personally disagree with a lot of his assessments. I don't believe we're truly going to get a soft landing, but he is still pushing the narrative, and the market loves to rally based off of this. Now, why is the market rallying? Well, the answer is it's not necessarily because, the market's stupid and it thinks that the market it just has to keep going, or there's not going to be a like a bad crash or anything like that. The market finds ways to pick what it wants to hear and make these big moves based off what the narrative is and based off what these market makers and institutions are trying to achieve, right? If they want the market to keep going, they're going to focus more on the better things that Powell says. And unless he forces the market to crash, it likely wouldn't have done that because of what the intents are of these market makers that manipulates the market. If everyone is just shorting, thinking Powell is going to crash the market, the opposite reaction is more likely to happen, and that is what we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. All right, I just wanted to note that he did say that in a hypothetical situation, though, that if inflation does end up coming back up, the Fed might have to be more hawkish. Powell also said that that's when the market came down, but then he also ended up closing by saying that there's lots of progress being made, clear signs of disinflation. He used the word many, many times. He did make some jokes about his salary. It was pretty funny. And at the end of the day, I mean, most of what he said was still in line with what he said during FOMC. The market liked it, and the market is likely going to try to pump again, in my honest opinion. Now, I want to note some other things about Tesla. I'm seeing this article and articles just like this all over the news again. Tesla raises the price of the Model Y, and amid the fact that there were revisions to the EV tax credit. Let me just clarify this real quick, okay? They cut prices by 13,000. They're raising prices by 2,000. The prices are still a lot lower than where they were many months ago. Okay, so don't let these articles, which are not giving you specific details in the headlines, get the best of you. It's just insane the fact that this keeps happening. I saw so many like this. Do not let news that's misleading get the best of you. And I'm calling this out because look at the new Model Y inventory levels. You could see right here, we're currently at some very, very low levels. It's currently below like 20, I think. I can't even like click on there. It's super low. I think it's at about, I can't even like hover over it. It's that low. It's almost zero. So we're seeing inventory coming very low for Tesla. What this tells me is the buyers are stepping in. People are buying Teslas like crazy, even during times like these. Why? Because the price cuts are incentivizing them to buy more. Just like what I said yesterday, they did this in China and it's working out quite well. I'm saying this again because it's working so well. We're seeing inventory come down. Very awesome to see. Now, Tesla tweeted mega factory, and Elon Musk responded, manufactured in California. This is incredible news in my opinion, because look, Tesla is doing so much work to improve their mega packs, and I think that energy storage is going to become an even bigger sector in their revenue and in their potential markups over time. I consider this a good thing. Once again, as I mentioned, Elon Musk is focused on many different things, not just the cars, the energy storage sector. We have solar panels, we have AI, we have so many things Tesla's working on. This is just another one of the big things. Now, finally, let's look at some data. The volume for Tesla was a little bit lower, 172 million, so it is slowing down just a little bit, but it still is still quite nice. We're still quite green for the day, so I think it's okay. And then looking at the short volume percentage, we did see more shorting going on. So this tells me, once again, if the shorts keep piling in, they might make a lot of money if Tesla does break to the downside. But at the same time, if the market continues to rally hard, these shorts are going to be destroyed, right? It's going to be very difficult for them. The selling pressure that's trying to bring Tesla down is not doing the best of jobs because Tesla keeps closing green. Tesla is still showing some nice strength at the time I'm recording this. The price pairs ratio, as of yesterday, it really took off. We're seeing Tesla just continuing to outperform the market. Today, it did not outperform the market, but like I said before, we had a really, really strong open. So that's okay. But overall, it doesn't really change my opinion that Tesla's doing very well right now. The price comparison between Tesla and SPY is still showing Tesla outperforming, still holding up a lot better, at least for the overall trend. This is a lot more vertical. And on top of that, RBC Capital and Wedbush are both very bullish on Tesla. They're saying Tesla's going to outperform the market. They're very, very bullish. Awesome news. I did actually call out the Wedbush analyst that's giving Tesla not just a 200, but now a 225 price target. So that is worth noting. It's very awesome news for Tesla investors. For Wednesdays, Tesla tends to not perform as well. We're green about 48.85% of the time, but we do tend to slow down a little bit as the days go on throughout the week. But this is not accounting for what Jerome Powell said. This is just historical data. I think that if the market does pump more, which it most likely will, this could be very positive for Tesla, and Tesla could continue to see a nice break. Now, even though February's are not the best month, I do think Tesla could have a pretty decent month. And Tesla tends to really speed up during the second and fifth or sixth hours of the day. So we might see Tesla a little bit slow during open, but it should come right back up as time goes on. And finally, the short interest came down a little bit yesterday, showing signs that we did see lots of shorts covering that may be contributing as to why Tesla's outperforming the market. Now, for the week, I just want to note we have jobless claims on Thursday, and tomorrow we just have some crude oil data, not anything too big. But the one important thing I want to note is we have lots of Fed speakers, and we know when they speak, they do have a tendency of slowing the market down. We have more in the morning and less throughout the day, so we might have a somewhat slow opening for the market. We might be a little slow, and things may pick up as the day goes on. We have more Fed speakers on Thursday, also jobless claims, like I mentioned. Then on Friday, we have even more Fed speakers. So they might try to slow the market down a bit. There's no guarantee they'll be that successful, though, because this market looks like it wants to keep going. For earnings, I want to note that tomorrow we have a Walt Disney after the market closes, and before the market opens, we have Uber, CVS, Wendy's, and a couple of other ones. For Thursday, we have PayPal. It's going to be very important, so make sure you keep your eyes out for that. It could actually shift the market to some degree. Now, let's talk about the charts. Before I end this video, I want to make this a little quick. Uh, right now, the S&P 500 or SPY, you could actually use the same TA for them. We have this ascending channel right over here. It's looking very, very nice as of right now. And as the market came down when Jerome Powell was speaking, we bounced off this key support zone. We actually got a nice bounce, and we are going to test the midline very soon. In my opinion, okay, if we do push up tomorrow, which I think we most likely will, we're getting some nice momentum. If we do push up, I want to note that we have to watch 418. If we break 418, this thing is likely going to go for the gap fill in the 422s, and we're going to peak somewhere here most likely. That's what I'm going to be watching, 422 to 428, very important level. If the market manages to achieve that, and there's an increased probability that Tesla's going to get another breakout, as we are seeing lots of buyers still stepping in. The VIX was about to break out, and we got a big rejection off its wedge because the market did get a nice push to the upside, and we did see the VIX come down as a result of that. So because the VIX is down, there is still potential for the market to continue. There's not really much to really slow it down other than maybe jobless claims. I don't think earnings is that huge. The Fed speakers could slow us down a little bit, but there's nothing that huge until CPI. I just want to note that the market could keep going until then. And then finally, the dollar index, it did something very similar to what I predicted. I predicted that the dollar could continue to break out, but before it continues to break out, we might have a retest of this wedge all the way up here. And if this does end up coming down, this could be bullish for the stock market. And it also depended on Powell. I wasn't as certain about what he would say, but it looks like he's still continuing with the same narrative. On Apple, we have a very beautiful looking setup as of right now. We had our top at 157. We might try to get a retouch of it. We might try to form either a double top or even break this. If it breaks, then I'm going to be watching 160. That could push the market up. Finally, the QQQ, if this thing gets to continues going, I'm going to be watching 314. It could actually get there, but we have to be very patient with it. If it does break that, there is a possibility that it's going to keep going and form a new high. There's no indication that the trend is broken just yet. The 10-year yield is continuing to climb, but like I said before, this is often a sign that the market will slow down soon. But we just have to wait and be a little patient first, because I do believe we are in the topping process. Now, anyways, for Tesla, let's talk about Tesla before I end this video. Sorry if I am making these videos a little too long sometimes. There's a lot to go over. For Tesla, I want to note that the overall setup looks bullish. This does resemble a bullish triangle. If you are a bear, if there's a bad piece of news, make sure you watch this 190 level, I'm sorry, 195 first, break below that, I'm going to be watching this 191 to 190 zone. This is where this new support level is playing out. And if it breaks below these areas, the next major support is going to be all the way down at 185. So I'm just talking about the bearish possibility, so you guys are prepared just in case. The bullish possibility is a retest of 198 to 200 and a break above it. If we break 200, we're going to fly to 205 pretty fast. Break 205, there's 209, and then 215 happens to be where the daily 200 EMA is. We could actually get all the way up there if we get the break. Now, what am I seeing on Tesla? From a technical standpoint, it looks a lot more bullish than bearish. It looks like it's trying to fight 198 to 200 over and over and over again, and it wants to break it so badly. It just keeps getting stopped out right over here as sellers come in. And we also see some shorting that comes right at this zone right here. We are seeing shorts trying to break Tesla down, but it is also fighting very well, and we are quite green. I'm thinking of two possibilities. I'm thinking that we're either the most likely thing that I'm seeing, okay, I went over the bullish case and the bearish case. I just want to note is we might try to fight this. I don't know when we're going to break it, but I think it's very likely we will. And I'm saying that because the market is still showing some nice strength. If I actually pull up SPY on the daily MACD, we're not necessarily like dead or anything like that. There's still potential for us to continue pushing. The MACD is still open. We still have some bullish momentum. But anyways, going back to Tesla, I just want to note to everyone that uh, looking at the 1 hour time frame, I do believe Tesla wants to keep going like this. I do believe it's going to keep trying to fight. So what could happen are two main possibilities. We might continue to remain in this trend a little bit longer. We might get very, very tight, and then we could get the break a little later, maybe going into either tomorrow or the day after. And if the market does get a big break, if SPY breaks like 418, the QQQ breaks its high, and Tesla could actually fly to 209, maybe get close to the daily 200 EMA, get close to this 215 level. It's very possible for that to happen, but I wouldn't necessarily consider this the best of areas to buy in, because I do think the market is very overbought in a way, especially if we do get to these high levels. And I do think later a retracement is likely to come in the future, and there could be better places to re-enter. I'm not giving financial advice, by the way, just saying, but take it for what it is. And we're so far following this formation, so it is very likely a breakout could come either tomorrow or the day after. But I'm also prepared for anything just in case there's bad news. So please watch your levels very carefully, be prepared for anything, and just note, I can't promise anything, but I think it's most likely the truth that we're going to get a breakout. We're going to try to fight 198 to 200. Buyers will step in. Maybe shorts will continue to get squeezed. And we're most likely, from a technical standpoint, going to get the breakout, in my opinion. So anyways, that's what I have for this video. I can't promise anything, guys. I want to make that as clear as possible, but I think it's very likely that this will happen. I think Tesla looks very strong. Buyers are still stepping in, and there's no sign of the market necessarily like crashing or reversing just yet. The market is still getting buyers. The market still looks like it wants to keep going. I think Tesla getting to or above 200 is still very possible and very likely for the week. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of the day. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, because the long-term future is still incredibly bright. And peace out.